Could dinosaurs have developed high intelligence? Links to sources and timestamps are in the video description. Let's go. Dinosaurs ruled the planet for 170 million years. Could they have developed human-like intelligence in that time? In theory, dinosaurs could have developed intelligence comparable to humans, but there is no evidence to suggest this was the case. No known dinosaur species had a brain size relative to body size that surpassed modern birds. Additionally, there are no discoveries suggesting the existence of a civilization. Paleontologists today believe that the 50-kilogram predatory dinosaur Troodon was among the most intelligent dinosaurs. Its brain volume was 20 cubic centimeters, whereas a 100-kilogram ostrich's brain is 32 cubic centimeters, and a human's is about 1,500 cubic centimeters. Studies suggest Troodon lived similarly to birds, with one or both parents incubating eggs. It may have hunted in packs, indicating some degree of social intelligence. However, researchers may have overlooked an even more intelligent dinosaur species, as only a small fraction of dinosaur species from their 170 million year reign has been discovered. This limited fossil record leaves significant gaps in understanding their diversity and biology. Evidence of a dinosaur civilization would also be hard to find. Most materials, like iron and concrete, degrade in a few hundred years, while only a few, such as bronze, persist for millions of years. What colors were dinosaurs? In books and films, dinosaurs are often depicted as green, brown, or gray. But how can we know their colors? Preserved skin impressions from fossils reveal scales and folds resembling those of modern reptiles. Some scales suggest pigmentation, but direct evidence of colors has never been found because pigments degrade quickly and fossils take on the colors of the minerals that fossilize them. Scientists hypothesize that dinosaurs use colors for camouflage, much like modern animals. Dinosaurs in dense vegetation may have been green or brown with spots and stripes for concealment, while those in open areas may have had colors similar to savanna animals. Laser technology revives dinosaur features. New laser technology is uncovering hidden details in fossilized bones, providing the most detailed pictures of extinct reptiles yet. American researcher Tom Kay has developed a homemade laser that reveals invisible traces of flesh and skin in fossils. These traces cause the laser light to reflect and change color, highlighting the microscopic structure of the stone. Using this technique, researchers examined Anchiornis, a close relative of birds, revealing tissue remnants around its arms, legs, and tail. The laser has enabled scientists to recreate the exact contours of its body, down to fine details. Future plans include using drones equipped with lasers to scan areas like Mongolia's Gobi Desert for fossils. The laser light makes potential fossils glow, allowing researchers to locate them easily. Two well-preserved fossils of 125-million-year-old dinosaurs found in China offer insight into how they lived and died. These specimens suggest they were buried alive while sleeping, earning the species the name Changmiania liaoningensis, the eternal sleeper of Liaoning. Anatomical features indicate these 1.2-meter-long dinosaurs likely lived partly underground, using spade-shaped noses and strong forelimbs to dig tunnels. A fossil discovery in China has confirmed that some dinosaurs incubated their eggs like birds. This fossil shows eggs from a dinosaur from the Oviraptor group, who used to lie on top of 24 eggs, some containing well-developed embryos. Oxygen isotope analysis of the embryos suggests they developed at temperatures between 36 to 38 degrees Celsius, similar to modern birds. New research challenges the idea that raptors hunted in packs like wolves. Analysis of Deinonychus teeth suggests these dinosaurs likely hunted alone. The study found that younger individuals had different diets from adults, similar to Komodo dragons, indicating solitary lifestyles. Could we clone dinosaurs like in Jurassic Park? Despite advancements in DNA recovery, cloning dinosaurs remains unlikely. Even though some fossils contain traces of soft tissue, proteins, and possibly DNA, these molecules degrade over millions of years. While researchers like Evan Seda continue exploring ancient DNA, reviving dinosaurs remains a distant dream. When the film was released in 1993, its astonishing premise seemed plausible. Real-world scientists had just discovered DNA from insects preserved in amber, and a new method to sequence genomes from small DNA fragments had been invented. However, the amber discoveries were later criticized for contamination with modern DNA, and the methodology behind the findings was deemed flawed. Numerous studies have since cast doubt on the idea that DNA could survive for millions of years. How could dinosaurs be brought back to life? Theoretically, there are various tools that could be used to revive dinosaurs using ancient DNA. Drilling equipment, DNA printers, and artificial eggs are potential approaches if claims of DNA in dinosaur bones are true. In that case, scientists might one day bring dinosaurs back to life. But should we? Extracting DNA from skeletal powder. Scientists pulverize part of the skeleton and dissolve the powder in a liquid. They can then extract and decode the DNA sequence. Any gaps in the sequence could be filled by computers using similar sequences from living relatives of dinosaurs, birds. Synthesizing a genome from scratch, the repaired genome would then be printed from the computer by assembling small chains of DNA bases and linking them into larger segments. Researchers have previously used this method to build bacterial genomes from scratch. Transferring DNA into a bird cell. Using a fertilized bird egg cell, scientists carefully remove the bird's DNA from the cell nucleus without damaging the cell. They then insert the newly created dinosaur genome into the cell. A similar technique was used in 1996 when scientists cloned a sheep, placing the cell in an artificial egg. In a few days, the egg cell divides into a small embryo. It is then transferred to an artificial egg, where it can develop into a viable dinosaur, similar to how a chicken develops in a hen's egg. Have scientists investigated Jurassic Park DNA techniques? In 2013, a group of English researchers examined insects in copal, a transitional stage between resin and amber. The insects were between 60 and 1,600 years old, but no preserved DNA was found. Similarly, fossil skeletons have shown no evidence of such ancient DNA. The oldest complete genome comes from a 700,000-year-old horse skeleton found in permafrost. In 2012, a Danish-Australian research team tried to estimate a best-before date for DNA. They analyzed DNA degradation in skeletons of varying ages from the extinct moa bird, calculating how the genetic material broke down over time. They discovered that DNA fragments large enough for sequencing disappeared after just 1.5 million years. Dinosaurs, except for birds, disappeared 66 million years ago, meaning their DNA's best-before date has long since passed. Proteins also hold genetic information reflecting DNA's code and last longer than DNA. The oldest confirmed proteins are 3.4 million years old, but this does not solve the problem. Nonetheless, the hunt for ancient DNA, proteins, and other traces of soft tissues from dinosaurs has intensified in recent decades, with Montana becoming the epicenter of molecular paleontology. Could dinosaur bones or fossils contain DNA? The question of whether fossils or bones from dinosaurs can contain DNA is hotly debated. Mary Schweitzer, a molecular paleontologist and former student of Jack Horner, the scientific consultant for Jurassic Park, has published controversial findings suggesting soft tissues might exist in well-preserved skeletons. In 2020, she and Alida Bayol reported the discovery of collagen proteins in cartilage-like material within 2 dinosaur fossils from Montana. Microscopic cell-like structures were also found, some possibly dividing and others containing elongated forms resembling nuclei, potentially filled with DNA. These fossils were from juvenile hadrosaurs that lived 75 million years ago, a glimpse of the dinosaurs' final moments. A dramatic discovery has revealed in detail what happened to Earth's creatures in the minutes following the asteroid impact that wiped out the dinosaurs. Blinding light, quakes, and fiery glass rain. A triceratops, grazing near a river, witnesses a blinding flash followed by a series of earthquakes. Hot glass beads rain down, igniting trees. The frightened dinosaur is caught in a tsunami, triggered by the asteroid impact, burying the region in thick mud. Luis and Walter Alvarez, a father-son team, discovered in the 1980s that a layer of clay containing iridium, a rare element on Earth but abundant in asteroids, marked the period of the dinosaurs' extinction. Their findings eventually led to the discovery of a massive impact crater at the Yucatan Peninsula, Mexico, 180 kilometers in diameter. In India, the Deccan Traps, a massive volcanic formation, were likely erupting before and after the asteroid impact. The lava flows, spanning 500,000 square kilometers, likely contributed to environmental stress, possibly exacerbating the mass extinction. The debate continues over whether the asteroid or volcanic activity played the primary role, with evidence suggesting dinosaurs were either thriving or already in decline before the impact. A prehistoric Pompeii, Tanis. In North Dakota, paleontologist Robert De Palma uncovered a site named Tanis, containing a chaotic mix of fossils from land, sea, and freshwater creatures, all seemingly killed minutes after the asteroid impact. Evidence included tektites and shocked quartz linked to the asteroid strike. The Tanis site provides a unique snapshot of the extinction event, offering unprecedented insight into the dinosaurs' final moments. Giant waves buried the riverbank. 66 million years ago, the landscape of Tanis. De Palma's Tanis site was once a subtropical river delta with swamps, cypresses, and ginkgos. A few kilometers east, the river connected to a vast inland sea splitting the United States in two. This sea stretched from the Gulf of Mexico to the northern U.S., with Tanis situated at its northern end, 3,000 kilometers from the asteroid impact site. When De Palma discovered the site, it had become a mass grave of plants and animals from land, freshwater, and the sea, all buried on the same day, 66 million years ago. Like a detective, he set out to reconstruct the sequence of events. The first minutes, earthquakes and giant waves. Asteroid strike shakes the planet. The asteroid impact triggered earthquakes up to 1,000 times stronger than any experienced in modern times. 3 seismic waves reached Tanis in North Dakota, 3,000 kilometers away, approximately 6:10 and 13 minutes after the impact. Earthquakes generate waves in inland seas. The quake stirred enclosed bodies of water, including fjords and inland seas, creating waves up to 100 meters high. The massive inland sea spanning from Texas to North Dakota experienced this upheaval, with Tanis struck by waves at least 10 meters tall. 2 hours after impact, enormous waves hit. Within 2 hours of the impact, Tanis was hit by 2 waves, each over 10 meters high. We have seen this display of nature's devastating power. Tsunami caused by an earthquake in 2004 that eradicated a large swath of Thailand, Sri Lanka, and other coastlines, and killed over 200,000 humans in one day. Another example is the devastating tsunami that hit Japan in 2011, the east coast of Japan, and devastated the shoreline, as well as the Fukushima nuclear power station. These waves from ancient times carried shellfish and fish from the sea and river onto land, burying dinosaurs and other land animals under a meter-thick layer of sand and mud. Distinct layers of sediment. The site contains multiple sediment layers. The topmost 1.3-meter-thick layer holds newly discovered fossils. Beneath it lies red clay with high iridium concentrations, deposited in the aftermath of the impact. Fossils of marine and land animals suggest that 2 massive waves from the inland sea reached kilometers upstream, depositing debris on the riverbanks. Glass spherules formed from molten rock launched into the atmosphere by the impact rained down over Tanis 13 and 25 minutes after the collision and continued for 2 hours. The fossils show these spherules lodged in the gills of fish, likely suffocating them. The first hours, a hellish rain of glass, molten rock turns to deadly projectiles. The asteroid vaporized rock into 40,000 cubic kilometers of molten droplets, which shot into the atmosphere. Many of these hardened into glass spherules before raining down at speeds of up to 36,000 kilometers per hour. Fires and suffocation. The heat from the falling spherules likely ignited vegetation, while fish and animals were struck and killed. Yet, according to De Palma, Tanis was not affected by tsunamis, as the waves would have taken 18 hours to reach the site. Instead, the massive waves were likely seiches, generated by seismic activity. The first days to years, planetary catastrophe, acid rain and global darkness. The asteroid impact released immense quantities of sulfur gases and soot into the atmosphere. This caused acid rain that devastated oceans and darkened the sky, cutting sunlight by 98% for months to years. Global temperatures dropped by 15 to 30 degrees Celsius, triggering a brief but extreme ice age. Widespread fires and ecosystem collapse. Glowing spherules heated the atmosphere to 260 degrees Celsius, sparking fires worldwide. The lack of sunlight led to the collapse of ecosystems dependent on photosynthesis. causing mass starvation among plants, herbivores, and carnivores. Survivors and the legacy of the impact. Small animals and aquatic life endured. Small creatures needing less food and aquatic organisms relying on organic debris fared better. Among the survivors were birds, descendants of theropod dinosaurs, whose beaks allowed them to eat seeds, a resource that persisted after vegetation vanished. Bird evolution explodes. The surviving dinosaur lineage diversified rapidly. Within a few million years, the ancestors of today's 10,000 bird species had evolved. Despite the mass extinction, dinosaurs continue to thrive in the form of modern birds, making them one of the planet's most diverse vertebrate groups. A stroke of bad luck. Had the asteroid struck a less sulfur and carbon-rich region of Earth, the extinction event might not have occurred. Just a slight variation in timing could have left dinosaurs dominant, altering the course of evolutionary history. In the next part of this series, we explore what might have happened if the dinosaurs had not died out. Perhaps they had developed intelligence? Follow us and find out more.